This video is made for adult collectors because these emulate toys from 40 years ago. Bumblebee. So these two are a thing. I like them quite a bit, though I have some weird issues with them. However, the biggest point of contention for a lot of people, myself included, is that these are $40 US. That's a lot for a mini bot. Granted, these are built from the ground up novelty G1 collectibles that are hyper-articulated versions of their former selves, and rebuilding G1 toys with bits of diecast and stuff isn't cheap, I get it. But $40 US? Fortunately, these are on sale at Hobby Genki by about 10 bucks or so. You sponsor time. They sent this my way. They have plenty of other Transformers and a sale going on and more cool stuff, so you can check them out linked below. And their shipping ain't bad, at least to Canada. That makes ordering these two with shipping cheaper than me just ordering them from somewhere else, though that may depend on where you live. But again, you can check them out, links in the description down below. Thank you very much for sponsoring this video. Now back to the actual toy. This is Missing Link Cliffjumper and Missing Link Bumblebee, super articulated versions of original G1 mini bots, and they look the part. You can have them look like G1 toys, which is neat, or activate the articulation to give you a more dynamic look. They feel pretty good. The legs and arms are very thin, and I wasn't sure how they were gonna handle the shoulders and everything, but it all feels pretty solid, even if they are thinner. Like, it feels well built. I don't feel as precarious messing with certain joints as I do with Missing Link Optimus. Granted, my Bumblebee is super tight in some areas, so I do have to be a little bit careful with that until I fix it. They come with these neat little boxes that feel very Japanese G1, and hey look, Bumblebee's officially licensed. Come on, Volkswagen, where's that Porsche license for Masterpiece? And they have styrofoam inserts, pain, whatever. You'll also get collector's cards of sorts and stickers, but I don't care enough to do anything with them. They match that glossy look of the original toys with the proportions of said original toys. I only have the keychain Cliff to compare, but they are very, very small. They mimic that original G1 minibot size, and it makes that price a bit harder to swallow. I dig the head sculpts. They both look how I would want them to. I love Bumblebee's battle mask face. The backs of the heads feel like diecast, but I could be wrong. They feel colder and more solid compared to the rest of the toy. They both come with guns, though Cliffjumper's accessories make the price a lot easier to handle. B just comes with a gun, but Cliffjumper comes with a gun and a bazooka, and everything is chromed, even the handles, though we'll see how that holds up over time. But Cliffjumper's extra larger accessory makes the price nicer on him than it does on Bumblebee. I wish Bumblebee came with like something else to fill out that box space, just like Cliff. Seeing as these are small mini bots, the articulation is strange because there's not a lot of like space to fit joints on something like this. So it means getting them into poses can be a bit strange and a little wonky. So obviously this guy's articulation, let's just do the original for comparison. He can flap his head, his arms can rotate, and that's it. That's all this does, nothing else. So in comparison to that, we'll just get Bumblebee out of shot. We'll focus on Cliffjumper. So for starters, Cliffjumper is my favorite of the two, but head can rotate left and right and look down. It can't look up. Kind of wish it could, but whatever. The shoulders, they can do full 360. They're on this weird little armature right there, so they come out here at this joint, then they bend at that joint, and then they have the joint up here. So that means the shoulders, they can go out about that far. They are slightly trigger happy but like I don't know how else they could have done that. He does have elbows and a bicep rotation, which is nice. The tires are rubber, and I have noticed that when I go to pose it, the tires sometimes will just come off because they are rubber, so you just have to be careful with that. Nothing at the waist, because what are you going to fit in there? The hips are weird. The hips are kind of sort of like Masterpiece Soundwave hips, so that they can go out about that far, but then they bend forward and back at a separate joint underneath that. So it looks like this. You can rotate the thigh swivel to get it to like spread out a bit and sort of look like that on that angle, but it is weird. It's a wide-jointed hip, basically. It's kind of like a Marvel Legends wide-jointed hip. It's very strange. But you do have that thigh rotation. Oh, and the legs do go back. Only about that far. You do have a knee. The knee is down here. Yes, that is technically the knee because the foot has its own separate joint and an ankle tilt right below that. The knees are really low. So getting his legs into certain poses can be a bit of a challenge at first because you're just like, how the hell does this work? And you can do it, right? Like, oh, look, there he is. He's in a cool pose. But it is a bit awkward. And then on Bumblebee, as I said, this foot joint is really tight on mine. I don't like it. I don't like that. And then this thigh swivel is very tight on my copy. And then this shoulder joint, it's fine here. Up here it's tight, and down here it's tight. So I gotta have to loosen that up somehow. But Cliffjumper's completely fine, but yeah, their posing's a bit weird. So yeah, I have my little issues with them, but I still have fun with them. They're nifty. Now car modes. All right, transformations. Let's get the original back in here to show you what that looks like first. So you fold the head in, compress the arms, compress the legs, done, right? Simple, easy. There's no difference in the transformation between the keychain version and the normal version. Missing link, though, is very neat. Now, I didn't think there was any weapon storage in the alt mode until my friend pointed it out literally yesterday. Well, yesterday at the time of recording this. But you can take their guns and peg them into the inside of the feet. Come on, inside of the feet, there you go. And that's weapon storage. And then Cliffjumper's bazooka can plug into his back. And so everything stores on Cliffjumper. That's awesome. But, so you fold the head in just like the original toy. It doesn't sit flush. The head always is just peeking out ever so slightly. Like here's the original. And it sits flush. This doesn't. That kind of bothers me a little bit. Then you take the arms, you rotate them in. You don't push them in first because there's a cool thing that they did. So you peg the feet together, fold them down, and then compress it in. Now, and there's a rub sign, by the way, activating. There are these little tabs right here, and there's the ports in the hands. So you compress this all the way in and then peg the hands into the front of the vehicle. And I like this a lot because the original doesn't do this. And the original has a problem where every once in a while, these will, like this one, for example, is just really loose. And the arm will just fall out, or the foot will fall out, right? But they've added that peg right there to allow for it to stay in place. So even if this does get loose over time, it's not gonna fall out. It's great, I like that. And then Bumblebee, same sort of ordeal. Store his gun in here. There's no real difference with Bumblebee except on my copy, as I said. This is really stiff. Oh. And I don't like it very much. But again, everything else just works the exact same way. It's got the same sort of tab slots. Now, the one difference between Bumblebee and Cliff when it comes to like their robot modes and transformation is Bumblebee's shoulders don't go out as far as Cliffjumper because Cliffjumper doesn't have that back bumper that extends all the way out, whereas this one does have that back bumper, so the shoulders don't go as far out in robot mode. But yeah, that's there you go. There they are. Yay. Yep, that's a penny racer. I actually have a penny racer of sorts here, so yeah, that fits quite well. Honestly, if you didn't know this was from the year 2024, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference that much, save for like the shade of red on Cliffjumper. I got no clue what color differences Bumblebee has. I don't have a G1 Bumblebee. The bazooka on Cliffjumper doesn't really have a place to store in car mode, which is but it is G1. They are really solid though in this mode. It helps that the arms peg into the feet, as I mentioned, because it keeps everything tightly packed together. Like if the arms do get loose over time, which, you know, test of time, they might, it will stay together in car mode. I'm really glad they added that tab there. But yeah, $40 US is a lot. Again, on Hobby Genki, link below, they're $30 a piece-ish. Roughly conversion, which is a little bit more palatable, but it really is only for people who collect G1 or G1 adjacent toys because you'd be so used to paying that much for these things. For the average mainline collector, I don't see this being a good fit, especially since you're all used to paying the same price for friggin' bludgeon. But as a G1 toy collector, I adore these two and I think they're fun, and if you are a G1 toy collector, I think these are a must get. But that's my look at Transformers Missing Link, Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.